Velosofy. It's my show. Glad to be back to do a new video. This video I wanted to talk about my buyer's remorse, things that I've purchased or didn't purchase that I regret buying or not buying. I just want to give a disclaimer because there are people out there that are going to take an opinion about certain things that I've done, and it may be their favorite and it just didn't work out for me, or something that I missed, or it was an opportunity that was given to me but I missed it. So the first thing that I purchased that I regret buying or I have buyer's remorse about is the Sega CD. Now understand this, when I purchased the Sega CD, I got it on a bundle deal. I got a really good deal on it. Actually, I think I ended up getting like 10 to 12 games or something like that. I actually have a video that I did about it. I'll probably pull it up, put like a clip in, and I'll probably put the video link in the bottom in the description. That way you guys can go back and watch it. Really old video, really record, I was pumped the day that I got it. I remember meeting a guy in the parking lot, and he had a bunch of games. This was probably my early days when I first started. It was probably by 2012, 2013 when I started with YouTube. I believe I started in 2012, so this is my 8th year. Anyway, met the guy. He had a bunch of games, and some of these Sega CD games were pretty expensive, and they're probably up there in price now. So he gave me about 10 to 12 games, something like that, with the Sega CD, and I only ended up getting charged $80 at the time. So it worked out. Anyway, I tried to get it to work, because with the Sega CD and your Sega Genesis, and I had the Model 2 at the time, you had to make sure that you loaded everything up right, plug two big AC adapters, these big plugs for your Sega Genesis and for your Sega CD. And so at the time I couldn't get it to work, so I was just like, okay, I disregarded it, and I tried it again a few times down the road, and then sure enough I bought a bunch of games, so more time passed, so I just let it go for that time being. So then down the road I tried it again, and sure enough, after much testing, I found out there was a fuse in it and it couldn't be fixed, and there was an issue. So yeah, all that money down the drain. The next game, or the next thing, my buyer's remorse was Alpha Protocol. Now for me, I went through the whole process of pre-ordering the game, purchasing the game, watching the trailers, being excited for the game and everything. I mean, I was totally pumped for this thing, and I couldn't believe that when it came out, it was horrible. And this is just my experience. There was only like a few outfit changes for the character. There was no real customization. Mind you, this was a PS3 title. Now the game had been delayed a few times, and it turned out to be a bust. And I was disappointed. I mean, it had RPG elements in it, kind of like Mass Effect, but it was so low grade as far as the deliverance, and the stages were basic, the gameplay was basic. Everything was not to what I felt like I was supposed to experience with the game. Alright, so the next item on my buyer's remorse list is the Hip Gear for the PS2. I actually still have it. It's a little control. It's almost like what we have now. This from the PS2 era, Xbox original, GameCube era. They had it to where, and I have a video for it that I did when I did the unveiling of it. The reason why I regret buying it is just that it was just a spur of the moment thing. It didn't even cost me anything, but there's no way that I absolutely can play on a screen this small. If you can see that little square, that represents how big the screen is. That's it. There is no, you basically do all this work because you literally hook your PS2 up to the Xbox Hip Gear, and your output is the screen from the Hip Gear. This is your actual output right here. That's it. You can play your controls and all that. So you got your controller, you got your screen here. And I mean, that's nice and all, but there's nothing else I can do with it. I haven't hooked this thing up in years. So it's just literally an item that I've kept just because of history, and that's it. And that's the only purpose it served for me. Oh man. But this next one is probably one of the biggest. This is actually falls into buyer's remorse of not going ahead and just getting it. And it was, I'll probably have to put a picture up. It's the green original Xbox. It's like a light green color. I don't even know if that thing is worth anything now, but it's just it was a solid green color. Like it was about the color of a traffic light. I'll put a picture up or something like that. But anyway, I walked into the pawn shop one day to go and get an Xbox, or go in and get an Xbox. I was actually just looking for video games, as usual. Usually when I walk in the pawn shop, secondhand store, or whatever the case is, I'm looking for video games. So I go in there and I see the green Xbox. It's $30. Mind you, this was probably about 5-6 years ago. And on top of things, they offered layaway, meaning I only had to pay 10%, meaning I would only have to put $3 down, and I could have just held it until I decided that I wanted to come back and pay the full price to get it out. I never got it. I haven't looked it up, but I'm pretty sure that Xbox is worth something now. Okay, so I went back, did a little research, and found out which Xbox it was, because it was going to drive me crazy, and I wanted to talk about it on tape. It was the Mountain Dew original Xbox. Loose, it goes right now, it's probably about 120. Complete is about 300 plus. It was all green. I distinctly remember this, and it just blew me away. And I was like, you know, Xboxes at the time weren't in value as they are now. The originals anyway. Yeah, so I passed up on that for $30. Now the last thing that I have to say, this is on me. I mean, all the other things were on me as well because I purchased them. But this one's pretty big. I've been wanting either the Mini, the SNES, or the NES Mini, and you know, I'm okay with modding, I'm okay with emulation and stuff like that. So I wanted to get one on a port, you know, ported to one of the NES or the SNES. So I'm looking it up online, I'm going through Instagram and all that, going through my timeline, and I see something saying, oh, it's only $30, $35, and it comes with all the games. And it looked like the NES. I already knew this wasn't the original NES, but I thought this thing would at least have NES games on it. There probably is about 20 to 30 NES games. I had to wait probably a month to a month and a half for it to come, because I think it came from Japan. This is the box that it came in. It's called the Mini Game Anniversary Edition. Built-in 620 classic games. Probably out of all these games, there's probably 20 to 30 actual NES titles in it. Hell, I could have modded a system myself and got something better. This is what it actually looks like, as you can see. And it came with the NES controllers and everything. I mean, they're not NES controllers, but as you can see, this thing says entertainment system. It's got the ports on it. It's not even HD to make it worse. It's the same charging port at the back. You can actually see the AV out and the DC in. So these are your ports right here. This is it. This is your charger, and this is your connection for your AV cables. That's it. No SD. I mean, well, it is SD, but it's like basic. It's probably 220, 240, or 420 or something like that. Something ridiculous. So I was upset because I had to wait a month and a half for this thing to come, only for it to not even have full NES titles in it. I mean, there's only like 20. The rest of them are just copies of the same game over and over and over. And these are like bootleg emulated games. Like, they're not even NES games. I don't know what they are. I haven't fired the thing up in months now. I was so upset. But tell me about your gaming experience with buyer's remorse on things that you wish you wouldn't have got and that you purchased. Because as you can see, and there is tons more of things that I bought, purchased. I probably took it back so fast that I can't even remember. But other than that, I'm Life Spiller. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. As always, I'm out.